Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam spoke to us about Dajjal, the false Messiah, and gave a description through which we could recognize that Dajjal has a PhD in telling lies. He said he comes with a river and a fire, but his river will be a fire, and his fire would be the cool waters of a river. And whosoever falls in his river will have his load of sins increased, and whosoever falls in his fire would have his load of sins decreased, indicating that the world in the age of Dajjal would be a world in which things are not going to be what they appear to be. When truth is going to be dressed up like falsehood, and falsehood is going to be dressed up like truth. Here in Shah Alam you are already fully aware of what the New Straits Times does not as yet know about. That there are three kinds of lies in the world of Dajjal. That there are ordinary lies, and then there are great lies, and then there is 9/11. If you turn to the University of CNN and the other one, the University of Al Jazeera, for your knowledge of Islam, then you will hear the lies. That when Islam takes control of government, that when Islam becomes a power in the world, they want to rule the world. They want to impose Islam at the point of a sword upon all of mankind. So we have to save the world from the menace of Islam. This is the University of CNN and the University of Al Jazeera. So it is necessary for us to wash this mud away. وَقُلْ جَاءَ الْحَقُّ وَزَهَقَ الْبَاطِلُ. Truth has come and falsehood has been defeated. إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ ظَهُوقًا. Every time the rain falls, the mud of batil, of falsehood, will be washed away. Tell that to CNN for me. And so tonight, we want to wash the mud away, so that the world can hear what is Islam's conception of a world order. Do we want to do what the Zionists want to do? Do we want to rule the world from Jerusalem at the point of a bloody Zionist sword? Do we want to wage endless war upon all of mankind so that Israel can rule the world? Is that our mission? That's theirs. They are the ones who want to impose their rule upon all of mankind and call it Pax Judaica. And that's why they want to bring down the United States at this time, so that Pax Americana would go, and Pax Judaica would take over, and Israel would rule the world. But you and I know that Russia will not bend its knee to Israel. So you and I know that there is going to be resistance to Israeli rule over the world. You and I know that the governments which rule over us Muslims, you know where they are. I don't have to tell you. But Russia and China will not bow and submit to Israel. But Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam said about Akhirul Zaman that you Muslims will make an alliance with Rome. You all know that, don't you? And when you want to know who is Rome, you must go to the Quran, because the word Rome is in the Quran. And when you do that, the answer is plain and clear. Saudi Arabia can't change it. Qatar can't change it. Excuse me. The Zionist kingdom of Saudi Arabia can't change it. The Zionist state of Qatar cannot change it. No. The answer is that Rome is the Byzantine, Eastern Christian empire which had its capital in Constantinople, today called Istanbul. You can't change that. Rome is not, no, it is not the Western European Christians, the Anglo-American Judeo-Christian alliance which has NATO as its military arm. That is not new, that is not Rome. When the Muslims conquered Constantinople, the head of that Christian church is called the Patriarch. This way they call the Pope, that one they call the Patriarch. He was the one who made the announcement that our headquarters now shift to Moscow, to Russia. And so, do what you want, you can't get away from it. Rome today is Russia and her allies, Eastern Europe. That's Rome. And whether you like it or whether you don't, is irrelevant. Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam has made the prophecy. He has said that you will make an alliance with Rome. That alliance is already coming into place. I don't know whether the government of Malaysia is aware of it, but Iran is already in alliance with Rome, with Russia. And Pakistan is moving in that direction now. And if Iran is attacked by NATO, by the Zionists, there is going to be civil war in Turkey, because the Turkish government is committed to being a servant of NATO. And the Turkish people don't like it. Turkey played a dirty role in helping NATO to take over Libya. Turkey is playing a dirty role in attempting to help NATO to take over Syria as well. And the Turkish Muslims don't like that. So there's going to be civil war in Turkey. And when that civil war in Turkey succeeds in driving NATO away, the alliance with Rome will also be there in Turkey. Saudi Arabia in the meantime remains an ally of the Zionists. Since this is an event which is to come, the alliance with Rome, tonight Islamic scholarship speaks from Malaysia to explain to the Russian leaders and the Russian scholars to explain to the Chinese leaders, the Chinese scholars, to explain to Greece, to explain to Eastern Europe, to explain to their priests what is Islam's conception of a world order, so that they would not be deceived by what comes from the University of CNN and what comes from the University of Al Jazeera, the bogus degrees. They must be surprised about this hadith when Putin hears about it, the Russian leader. Because so many of the governments of the Muslim world, they dance to every tune that comes from Washington. And they proclaim, the political parties that become ruling parties, they proclaim our friendship with the United States of America and with Britain, and with NATO. And so tonight we want to go to the Quran to say to the Russian leaders and to Chinese leaders what the Quran has to say about those Muslims who are friends of NATO, who joined with NATO to take over Libya, so that Libya has now become a Zionist state, who have joined with NATO to take over Syria, so that Syria can also become a Zionist state. What does the Quran have to say about that? I think it would benefit Russia and China to listen to what the Quran has to say. I don't think our governments care for the Quran. I don't think so. No. In Surah Al-Ma'idah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks, بَعْدَ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. And He says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, O you who have faith in Allah, لَا تَتَّخِذُوا الْيَهُودَ وَالنَّصَارَى أَوْلِيَاءَ. Do not take the Jews, do not take the Christians as your friends and allies. Is Allah speaking about all Jews and all Christians? No, of course not. That's the wrong methodology, to take a verse of the Quran in isolation. When you go to the whole Quran, it is plain and clear. Allah could not be speaking about all Jews and all Christians. Well then, which Jews and which Christians? Don't take them as your friends and allies. The answer is there in the words which follow. بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. Meaning, do not take such Jews and such Christians as your friends and allies, who themselves are friends and allies of each other. بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. The Quran is anticipating that the time is going to come in the future when there will be a reconciliation between some Jews and some Christians, and a Jewish-Christian friendship and alliance will emerge. When that happens, it is those Jews and those Christians, not your Jewish neighbor next door or your Christian neighbor next door, the Judeo-Christian alliance, that one, you are prohibited from maintaining friendly ties and being their allies. That Judeo-Christian alliance has emerged today, and we now recognize it as a Zionist alliance. And it seeks to control the world on behalf of the state of Israel. The Quran is saying, do not, this is Islam, do not be friends and allies of those Judeo-Christian allies. What is the price that we will pay if we do what Saudi Arabia has done, not the people of Saudi Arabia, the government, because the people of Saudi Arabia are increasingly opening their eyes and they don't like the government at all. What is the price that you will pay? I want the Russians to hear this. I want the Chinese to hear this. What is the price that those Muslims will pay who support the NATO, Judeo-Christian, Anglo-American Zionist alliance? The Quran says, وَمَنْ يَتَوَلَّهُ مِنْكُمْ فَإِنَّهُ مِنْهُمْ. Whosoever from amongst you turn to them for friendship and alliance, like Saudi Arabia has done, like Qatar has done, like so many others have done, you now belong to them, you've lost your Islam. Inna Allah la yahdi al-qawm al-zalimin. Surely Allah does not provide guidance for a people whose trademark is zulm, oppression, wickedness. This is the Quran. If I am wrong in my interpretation or explanation of the Quran, come on and tell me so. Come on and tell me so that I'm wrong. Nobody's done that so far. And so the Russian and the Chinese must know that when you go to the Quran and when you go to Muhammad ﷺ to find out what is Islam, this is Islam, the one that will reach out for an alliance with Rome, not the one that allies itself with NATO.